What we are not agreed of you to do is come to raid our pockets illegally to fund your fantasy project. Because it's a fantasy project. Let him continue doing it, but don't raid people's pockets. Let him look for funding elsewhere.
Okay.
Let him look for modules that have worked in other parts of the world, or conceive, rearrange his own budget and fund it. But not from people's pockets. If the question is unemployment, the answer is not to tell everybody to turn to become a mason or a plumber. Yeah, because that's what they're doing, that everybody, all Kenyans, turn into a plumber, become a mason, then go and work in a housing project. No. The answer to unemployment is you must come up with an economy that creates opportunities for every Kenyan based on their qualifications. And we must call bullshit when it's being served on the table.
Hello, very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. Such a pleasure to have you on board. My name is Evans Okinyi. Welcome to this conversation. This fine afternoon, I'm joined by Wakili Willis Otieno. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Wakili, I want us to address an issue that has actually taken place in the country with regards to the affordable housing program that the president is actually trying to implement. And therein he says that it's unstoppable. The courts have said this thing is, the housing levy part of it is illegal, and therefore this payment, or rather this collection of that particular levy should stop henceforth. Now, let me begin from here. What do you make of the president's assertion that the affordable housing program is unstoppable, and it does not matter the number of cases that actually will be leveled against it? At the end of the day, he's determined to actually implement his pet project.
Two things. One, he can implement his pet project as he so wishes.
Okay.
No one has stopped him from implementing his pet project. He can continue. But he should find alternative funding for it. What the courts have a problem with, and the people of Kenya have a problem with, is the manner in which he is seeking to fund it.
Okay.
By raiding our pockets. That is the problem. No one has a problem with his affordable housing. He can continue with his unaffordable housing scheme. That one he can run with.
Why are you talking about unaffordable?
It is unaffordable because I gave you last time here an example. Great Wall Apartments. In fact, I noticed that an offer last week, but early January. 3-bedroom, 2.8 million. Here in Mlolongo. 3-bedroom flat, 2.9 million. There are an affordable housing in Nakuru, 2-bedroom flat, 3.5 million. So, how is affordable?
Okay.
The market already addresses it. So, the point is this. He can continue. What he cannot continue with is the illegal collections.
Okay.
He cannot collect the illegal revenue that he has levied on our pay slips. That is what the court has said. This levying of the housing levy on our pay slips is illegal. Stop it. In fact, the next conversation should be when and where is he refunding the people of Kenya their money.
And that brings me to our next question. How easy is it for the government actually to refund the money that's already collected?
It is very easy. You simply post a credit on everybody who paid on their accounts. So that next time when your employer is remitting, pay as you earn, remit it less the amount. The simplest thing to do, because every employer has entered on the database set the details of the employee. And they know how much they paid as affordable housing. They know how much they're supposed to pay as you earn. So just credit everybody's account who paid. Next month, if you're deducting, you can do it progressively. Deduct less the amount that was paid as affordable housing levy, which was illegal. So it can be done. Simple. And the government will be paid to pay as you earn, less the sum. Then we move to the next level. But if you want to continue this affordable housing, continue. And we wish you well in that project. That is your response to the economic problems of Kenya. Continue. We wish you well. Do it. In fact, we hope and we pray that you succeed. What we are not agreed of you to do is come to raid our pockets illegally to fund your fantasy project. Because it's a fantasy project. Let him continue doing it, but don't raid people's pockets. Let him look for funding elsewhere.
Okay.
Let him look for modules that have worked in other parts of the world, or conceive, rearrange his own budget and fund it. but not from people's pockets, in an illegal manner. The onus now is upon him and David Ndii and the other advisors to come up with finding models for the affordable housing. The one they proposed, the courts have said is illegal. And it cannot work. And even themselves, if they're left now to find their own funding models, you will see them drop this affordable housing, an affordable housing scheme. Because there is no private sector individual, there is no reasonable investor or financier who is going to put his money in this scheme. That is why the appetite to raid our pockets. Because if it was making economic sense, how many people have capital across the world, even here in Kenya, that could have funded that project if it was a viable project and there's a ready market for it? You can just go across the world. There are people with billions and billions of dollars who are looking for opportunities to invest. But the model does not make sense because the problem of Kenyans is not housing. The problem of Kenyans is called affordable living. Kenyans want affordable living, not affordable housing. And I say that because our problem is a revenue problem, an economic problem that the bulk of our population do not have money in their pockets. We are not creating jobs that are commensurate with the people's qualifications. People lack opportunities. People live in low-cost housings. People live in slums, not because there is a lack of houses. People are living in slums. They are living in low-cost housing, low-quality housing, because they do not have money to pay for those houses. I told you, go to Kilimani here. There are so many apartments that are very well maintained, well built, proper sanitation, running water, electricity, lifts, that are empty, unoccupied. But yet you turn to Kibra, there are hundreds of thousands of people living in shanties without access to proper sanitation, no running water, no electricity. They are living in squalor. It's not because the person in Kibera cannot walk to Kilimani to see that house. They've seen the fact. Some of the people who put up the houses in Kilimani, they live in Kibra. So they know those houses exist. It is just that they do not have the earning capacity to live in those houses. The system has not created an environment for them to earn enough that they should be able to afford to live or even to buy those houses that are empty here in Kilimani. So if you want to address our problem as a people, address it by putting money in our pockets. It's an economic problem about people getting jobs, people getting opportunities to earn a decent wage. Once you address the decent wage, then you'll see them going to access those houses, buy them. Because the private sector has already built and saturated the market. With an empowered population, they'll be able to access and buy and own those houses and occupy them, even pay rent. So our problem, in summary, as a country, is a problem of earning. And the people of Kenya want affordable living, not affordable housing, as one of my followers I saw mention on my TikTok. It's affordable living, not affordable housing.
Here we are definitely talking about jobs creation and you're talking about employment and affordable living and of course wages therein. These are things that you've said. But the president has reiterated not once or twice about his pet project here, the affordable housing. And he's saying here that this is one of the ways through which he wants to create jobs. And in fact, during the tour in Meru, I had the majority leader in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, saying that the people who are against this project actually want the over 130,000 young people who are working in these areas to go home empty-handed and all that. I'm wondering, is this the right way to create jobs in the society or rather in the country at such a time?
That is what is called gaslighting. Gaslighting. You fail to create opportunities for people. Now you are trying to set them up against others, inciting people against one another. Those who are against, nobody's against affordable housing. I said they can build as many as they want. What we are not agreed to is the funding model. Don't raid my pocket to pursue your fantasy project. You can do your fantasy project for all we care, but don't illegally raid my pocket. That's what Kenyans are saying. Do it. Uhuru did it without reading our pockets. He had his own way. In fact, the ones they've launched so far, all of them were built during Uhuru's time. He found a way of doing it. I don't know how he did it, but let them also find their own way. What Kenyans are against is coming into our space, into our pay slips to raid it, to pursue your fantasy project. That's what we are against.
The last time we had...
So that when you hear the majority leader saying that these Kenyans will lose, that's trying to incite. Why can't you create jobs that are commensurate to these people? If you had a functioning economic system, an economic ecosystem that functions, in fact, your problem should be we don't have enough labor, people working in those houses, your housing units. You go to those housing units, you find graduates. I have a teacher who came to see me. He's working in a housing project, private sector housing project behind my office. He's a graduate. And he went to school, qualified as a teacher. He's now working in Amjengo. Not because that is his expertise or specialty. It's because the system cannot create more jobs for teachers. And it is the same across the entire labor market. People are doing jobs that don't match their qualifications, and they are paid meager wages that don't meet their qualifications. They are not applying their skill sets to what they studied in university or even in colleges or TVETs. So what if the question is unemployment? The answer is not to tell everybody to turn to become a mason or a plumber. Yeah, because that's what they're doing, that everybody, all Kenyans, turn into a plumber, become a mason, then go and work in a housing project. No. The answer to unemployment is you must come up with an economy that creates opportunities for every Kenyan based on their qualifications. We should not be finding teachers doing mjengo jobs, odd jobs, just to earn a basic meal for the day. I want to find a Kenyan teacher teaching Kenyan kids and future generations to become greater Kenyans, or even if need be, exporting the labor to places that reward them for their qualification and sweat. Taking them, forcing our graduates to work in those units and saying they are now causing unemployment is gaslighting. They are misleading us. And we must call bullshit when it's being served on the table. That is bullshit.
The last time we had this conversation, you were reading more than meets the eye into the government's obsession with this housing project. Do you still hold that as...
That I was reading?
You are reading more than meets the eye into this kind of project.
Of course. This is just a haste. The housing, the affordable, so-called an affordable housing project is a haste. And it's a haste in the following manner. The first time the people of Kenya meet what is called housing levy is in the finance bill. Do you know before you come with the finance bill, you come up with the national budget, the appropriations. In the appropriations, you get out the revenue estimates for each department. Then you put the revenue expenditures for each department. You create Ruto'S. Once you do your appropriations bill, then you come up with the finance bill as a revenue-raising measure to fund your appropriations. So in your appropriation, you'll have said the Ministry of Housing or Department of Housing will be putting up this number of units. They will need these billions to do it. And to raise the money, you come up with a finance bill that says we'll have a housing levy that will collect this much to fund this project that is housed at the Ministry of Housing. Then it is collected and taken to the consolidated fund. For it to be appropriated, to be taken out to pay for the project, the controller of budget will ask, how much was appropriated at the beginning of the financial year? Okay, it is appropriated, voted is Ministry of Housing, get it out to pay for the housing project is going on. Do you know, if you asked anybody today, what is the revenue estimate that is supposed to be collected from the housing levy? No one will tell you, because it's not in the Appropriations Act. So it means somebody is collecting money using the Finance Act. We don't know where it's being taken. If it is being taken to the consolidated fund, then how is it being appropriated? Where is it going? How is it going out? How is it going out? That's why I say this entire housing thing is a scam. Anybody who understands public finance will tell you the manner in which it is being run is contrary to our laws on the budget and public finance. It is a haste on the people of Kenya. That is their flagship.
Kimani Ichung'wah, and of course even the president, said that the courts should have been at least a little bit patient with them and given them time to work on the bill that was actually proposed in Parliament, so
But
that they could address the legal challenges that
Why didn't they be patient enough to do that bill before starting to collect? You don't kill someone and then you tell a court, just give me time to find a reason why I had to kill him. I mean, that's the ridiculousness of Kenya Kwanza. You commit an illegality and you are saying, give us time to clean it. Why didn't you take your time to come up with that bill and a proper legal framework that's agreed to by the people of Kenya and then collect it? You can't start by collecting an illegality, then you develop the bill. In fact, even if they pass that bill, the collections which have been done so far, the bill will not apply retrospectively. You must still refund. The bill will take effect from the date of passage going forward. Whatever you collected which was illegal, give us back our money.
Okay. What if the money has been used already?
We will demand.
Because I saw foundations being laid for some of the projects in various
No. We will demand that we'll pay government less the amount contributed.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the government owes me money at that point. And if you are doing your pay as you earn or annual tax returns, deduct your credit and pay less.
So you deduct it on your own?
On what you are going to pay them. They have a credit balance with government.
So you pay them less
the amount that you had been collected.
Well, our eyes are on the ground. Let's wait and see whether that money will be refunded to you. But of course, this is the information that we are receiving from across the quarters, even these unions of employees across the country. Maybe you talk of teachers, lecturers, and even doctors saying very well that the money should be refunded to them. We're waiting to see whether that will actually take place and what kind of effect that would actually have on the economic trajectory of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stop this conversation at this particular moment, but please, if at all you're watching us for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel here. And of course, do not fail to tune into some of our programs that will be coming up next. You also do not fail to follow us on all our social media platforms, be it TikTok, Instagram, and even X, formerly Twitter. Allow me to stop for now. My name is Evans Okinyi. Have yourself a lovely day.